Patty and I are truly honored to join again with Team Betsuin as we come together and try to share the Dharma with our Sacramento Betsuin Sangha members for this Obon Hatsubon service this year. Reverend Matt asked me before the service, how would you like to be introduced? Patty said, you don't need an introduction. And I said, oh, just say I'm Patty's husband. He really did it. Which really is true, you know. Since Patty and I retired from the Sacramento Betsuin in September of 2016, this is actually the first time I will be here as a major service guest speaker. And as I anticipated standing here at this most familiar podium, I began to wonder, how many services have we officiated in this Hondo over the 32 years that we were able to serve the Betsuin? And easily, that number is in the thousands. In so many ways, being here is like returning home. Even just listening to the chairman's opening message and what's written in the program, I remember writing that years ago when Ruth Seo was chairman for Obon service, and I'm honored to still hear it being shared. For the meaning of Obon Hatsubon is timeless. As shared in the message, this Obon Hatsubon service is one of the most meaningful services in our Buddhist tradition, especially for those of us who are observing our first Obon this year, our Hatsubon. And I know in a community as close as we are here in Sacramento, each of us, each and every one of us, has had to know deeply the recent loss, the most difficult loss, even unbearable loss of a dear family member, loved one. And sitting in the front as the choir sang beautifully, looking at the pictures of our Hatsubon members that we are especially thinking of today. Many times we were tearing up. So many memories come to mind. But in remembering friends and family that we have lost, we again know deeply the truths of life's delicate nature, and we remember again that the wonder of life is truly beyond value. And each time we are made to know loss, for a moment, our Dharma eyes truly open, and we have a deepened appreciation for the people and the moments that make our lives what they are. We realize again that however long we're able to live, life is short. And as Renyo says in his letter on White Ashes, life passes quickly, and few can maintain their form for even 100 years. Right now, all of us here, our Dharma eyes are open. And again, we know that we cannot take for granted the gift of each day. Our lives just stop when we know loss of someone we love. And we know again, without doubt, what is truly of value in living. I remember the day that Patty and I were married, as I stood with my best man, Nori Ito, before entering the Hondo of Patty's home temple in Fowler, California. For a moment, I felt a very, very deep sadness. And the reason for my sadness was in knowing that in our life together, however long it might be, it is almost certain that there will come a time when one of us will die before the other. And I felt sad to imagine her having to be alone, and I felt sad to imagine myself without her. But when our Dharma eyes open, we see this truth of life, and we begin to live not taking for granted the time we have together. I remember when Toko Fuji passed away, Sayoko, his wife, told me when they would do the dishes together, sometimes he would say, wouldn't it be nice if we could just go together at the same time? And I thought, this is what love is really about. We just want to be with the people we love. I've enjoyed mentioning when I guest speak or when I talk with folks that for 32 years, every autumn, I enjoyed teaching the Metta Padma Scouting Religious Award classes. My students were primarily 9 and 10 years old, some older, a few younger. But each year, when we discussed the topic of happiness, I would ask my class of mostly 3rd and 4th graders, okay, what do you need to be happy? What do you need to be happy? Most often, the first response would be shouted out, money! Money, we need money to be happy. Although I have to say twice, I was much impressed. In those 32 years, twice. One of the young students shouted out at one time, the first response was, love. So, wow, I need love to be happy. In another, the first response was amazingly, world peace. I need world peace to be happy. Both times it was one of our young Girl Scouts. Boys are always saying, money! But what do we need to be happy in life? When I'd ask this question, I'd listen to their response, and then I would give some perspective on that, and they'd say, money! And I'd say, okay, imagine you have all the money you could ever want. I mean, you are the richest person in the world. Are you happy yet? No. What else do you need? A nice house. I said, okay, not only you have one nice house, you have 100 nice houses all over the world. Just beautiful mansions. Are you happy yet? No. What else do you need? Nice car. So, okay, you have 100 cars, just top of the line, Lamborghinis, you name it, And they say, are you happy yet? No. What else do you need? Toys, video games, entertainment. I said, okay, imagine you live in Disneyland. And back then there was a Toys R Us. I said, you own Toys R Us. Are you happy yet? No. What else do you need? They'd say, family and friends. I said, oh, good, yeah, family and friends. You have family and friends. Are you happy yet? And they said, and then they start to slow down. No. I said, well, what else do you need? And then no response. And I said, okay, it seems like you're pretty happy. Would you be happy with this? And when I get some agreement, then I'd ask, okay, you have family and friends, but nobody else likes you. No, that's no good. I want people to like me. I said, okay, you have all the money in the world, nice house, great cars, family and friends, everybody likes you, but you're only 2 feet tall. No, I want to be tall. I want to be athletic. I say, okay, you're tall, athletic, you can dunk. You're just everybody loves you. Are you happy yet? They say, I don't know. And I say, okay, I said, I imagine you have all of this, but the world is polluted. You can't step outside. The oxygen air is so bad. And then they say, okay, we need clean air. We need a world that's okay. You have everything now. Are you happy yet? And then they say, very hesitantly, yeah, I think so. I said, okay, you have all this, but now you find out you only have 1 week to live. So, no, And the point was, we think we need so much to be happy. And according to my kids, money was most often the number one answer, but we know this is not so. When we chant Jusege or Sambutsuge, often in the very beginning, you might hear the minister chant Bussetsu Muryo Jukyo Jusege or Sambutsuge, which is just announcing where Sambutsuge or Jusege comes from. And the short chanting of Jusege, for instance, comes from the larger Sutra on Immeasurable Life. Muryo Jukyo, Bussetsu Muryo Jukyo, literally meaning the Sutra of Immeasurable Life. But in Buddhism, immeasurable life does not mean infinite life, although sometimes it is translated as such. Immeasurable life is just that, immeasurable life. Now, let me try to explain. When I graduated from high school, I remember my older brother is saying, you should apply and try to get a union job, huh? That's where the money is. So I got a job with Greyhound Bus Lines, AFL, CIO affiliated. And when minimum wage was $1.20 an hour, I was making $3.50 an hour. Wow. I was a baggage handler. Paid my way through college, huh? It was great. So I would load and unload buses, and it's a fun job when you're a young man, working swing shift or graveyard, 11:30 to 8 in the morning. And as I mentioned, union job meaning, wow, $3.50 an hour, almost 3 times the minimum wage. And I thought, man, I am raking in the bucks. But if we were to find out that our time was limited, that we did not have long to live, if we only had weeks to live, then how much would each day be worth? How much would 1 hour be worth? Would it be worth $100 an hour, $1,000 an hour, $1 million an hour? If someone you love was diagnosed with an incurable condition, how much would each day you would be able to be together be worth? Each moment is invaluable. When we view life with our Dharma eyes open, we see how fortunate we are just to be able to live right now as we are. Each day, each moment is a wonderful gift, never to come again. Each day together, each moment is muryoju, immeasurable, life immeasurable, life that cannot be measured. That's why in the three treasures that Sensei Keith, Reverend Keith shared with us, began with how fortunate we are, huh? To be born as human beings. In Japanese, ningen ukegata shi imasude ni yuku. Now, how lucky I am to be born, huh? As a human being. How fortunate to encounter a teaching that opens our eyes and encourages us to live our lives with onembutsu gratitude. That level of gratitude where the words thank you are not enough. Huh? That's why within our sadness today, in remembering friends and family we have lost, and I know I've seen families come up multiple times, for in our community, so many families interrelated, many times we have to know sadness when we live in a world of many. But this is also our time to feel again the gratitude of onembutsu. And so Obon is sometimes thought as a time of joy. In Jodo Shinshu, it is called kangie, which means gathering of joy. And I used to think, that's kind of very difficult to accept. For when we lose someone we love, how can we feel joy? But Obon kangie, gathering of joy, is an encouragement for us to see again that because of the efforts of others, of so many people we know, and so many more that we could never have known, because of so many others, we exist today. In our loving family and friends who are like family, they are all a very significant part of the karma of our lives. Because of them, we are here today. Because of so many people, we are able to be. When we're young, often we believe we do things simply by ourselves. In Japanese, they would say, "Shitoride, huh? Shitoride yatta." I did it all by myself. I remember one Issei Bachan telling me about how she went into the camps with 5 children as a widow, 5 young children by herself. And she looked back and said, surviving her life, and she lived to be almost 103. Mrs. Kyo Hirano, my adopted Bachan in San Francisco. But she said to me once, "Shitoride nanni mo dekinai." Alone, there's nothing we can do. Alone, there's nothing we're really able to do. But when we're young, we often think we do things simply by ourselves. That first summer out of high school, making $3.50 an hour, I saved up my money and I bought my first car. It was a used 1966 Mustang, Wimbledon white. It was cool. It was less than a year old, $1,500, huh? You could buy a brand new Mustang for $1,900, huh? So I got it for $15. I told my older sister and brother, この車一人で買った. I bought this all by myself. You can't drive it, it's mine. Huh? But in whose house have I been living all these years? Who filled the refrigerator full of food so that I can eat my fill whenever I wanted to? Who gave me kozukai all these years and so I could have spending money? Who did all this so I could save my money and buy one thing and say I did it all by myself? Huh? Looking back, I realized, as Hirano Ba-chan said to me, 一人で何にもできない. Alone, there's nothing I was ever able to do. When we realize this, our Dharma eyes open to the reality of interdependence. We exist because of the sacrifices of others. All that we accomplish is because of the efforts of others, most especially our family and our friends. Ogui Sensei, who was our bishop before, now retired, living in Japan, he would often say, our lives are not just our lives. Our lives are made up of the sacrifices and patience and love and care of others. Often in Japan, when someone has shown us kindness or helped us in some way, we might hear folks use the expression. There's many ways to say thank you, arigato, otsukare-sama. But this one phrase I'd like to just talk about a little today is gokuro-san. Some of you may have heard this expression, gokuro-san. It's a way of just saying thank you in a very formal way. This expression is rooted in an awareness of our interrelated, interdependent karma. Our lives are always interdependent. Literally, gokuro-san means this. Go is an honorific prefix. Kuro means hardship, difficulty, even pain, kurushi. And sama means people or person. This expression, gokuro-san, implies deep gratitude. The meaning of gokuro-san is this, meaning when someone says gokuro-san, they're saying, thank you so very much for enduring so much on my behalf. Thank you for enduring so much on my behalf. Gokuro-san, thank you for your sacrifices for me. Gokuro-san, because of your enduring hardship, I have this wonderful life. Arigato. Often the parents of children I taught English to would say this to me, Sensei gokuro-san deshita. It's an everyday phrase, but in the deepest meaning of this expression is an awareness of our karmic interdependence with one another, and also a profound sense of gratitude. That level of gratitude where the words thank you would never be enough. That feeling of appreciation I've come to feel is the heart of Onenbutsu. And we gather today for Obon Hatsubon and feel this deep appreciation beyond words. When we think of those we love who we've lost, how we wish we could once again hear their voice, their laughter, how we wish we could once again hold their hand, hug them close, talk with them, and hear their voice in response. How we wish we could thank them again, for all that they've done for us, saying to them, Gokuro-san deshita, thank you, thank you, thank you. But now, they live only in our hearts, and it is always in our hearts that we will thank them. A life of Nembutsu is a life of appreciation, realizing that each day will never come again, and that each day we are living is a gift we receive from so many others who have done so much and endured so much for us. Realizing this truth of life again, we all know well that if there's someone who has shown us kindness, let us thank them now. If there's someone we care for, let us hold them close and love them now. Not tomorrow, not the next time we see them, but now. I'll close with this final point, and it is a feeling I hold very close to my heart. Both of my parents were Kibei Nisei. This means that they were born here but raised in Japan, and then they returned here as adults. So both mom and dad were born in the United States. So my dad was born in the territory of Hawaii in Hilo, and my mom was born in Sanger, California. But once their parents had earned enough money to buy land in Japan, both families were from the Hiroshima area. They returned to Hiroshima. So both mom and dad returned to Japan and were raised there and came back before World War II. My mom came back on the second to the last ship they allowed back into the country, the Tatsutamaru. Mom and dad met in San Francisco, and it's interesting that they had to get parental approval. So they sent a telegram. Back then, no Skype, no email, no snail mail was slow. And so they did a telegram, sent a telegram to both sides. And then both my parents, my father's parents and my mother's parents, they met in Hiroshima. And then I wish my mom kept this, but her father sent back a one-word telegram that just said, Yoroshi, Yoroshi, which means okay. So they were married in San Francisco, and actually it was just 8 days before Pearl Harbor. They were married at the San Francisco Buddhist temple by Michiko Yukawa's father, Sanada Sensei. And so being raised in the Oshita household was being raised like by Isseis. These are like old school parents. Kibeis are tough. I'm glad I had Kibei parents because I could talk about them. Kibeis are tough. Both of my parents as Kibeis, they were hardworking, proud, and they believed in what people today would call tough love. In other words, in our home, we never heard words of praise. Kids nowadays, wonderful, they get to hear, oh, we love you so much. Oh, we're so proud of you. Oh, you're doing so well. Nah, you didn't hear that in our home. All we hear was words of reprimand. Bakadare, aho, yakamashi, ikage ni shinasai. That was always a strong one. Cast a good shadow. You behave. Ikage ni shinasai. When I heard that one, coupled with my name spoken in Japanese, Toshio. Oh, when I hear that, I know I'm in trouble. So they were tough. You didn't hear it. If I said to my mom or dad, "Do you love me?" They would say, "Bakatare," right? Yeah. You guys who have, even Niseis, they don't say that too much. So Niseis are just, there's a lot of Issei in the Nisei. They're a tough group too. And never growing up hearing, I bring home a report card of it. It could be a great, straight A's. My dad would look at it, He'd sign it, not even look at me, hand it back, and just say, keep it up. Whew, they're tough. Man, I don't know how he survived that. But I never heard anything of real encouragement from my parents, not a whole lot of affection. But you knew you were loved, you knew you were loved. And even when I told my dad, after college I wanted to study Buddhism, and my dad looked at me and said, "Bakatare, you stupid. What are you going to do with that, huh? What are you going to do with studying Buddhism? What's that about? Come on, you should become an engineer or a dentist." He wanted me to be a dentist for sure. But, because they're from Japan, and my mom even more so, her main language is Japanese. Because my dad was born in Hawaii, his English was also really comfortable. But when my dad asked me why when I spoke Nihongo to them, when I spoke Japanese to them, they always kind of give in. And I remember saying to my dad, To-chan. Oh, that's a good one. To-chan, huh? When you call your dad To-chan, that's like, you're really getting him right here. To-chan. Tada kyomi ga aru kara benkyou shitai. I'm just interested. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I really want to study this. And he listened to me in the little Nihongo that I could speak. That was 6 years of Japanese school, huh? And he said, like the telegram he received from his father-in-law, huh? Yoroshi, huh? Yoroshi, okay. Benkyou shinasai, you go study. And every month from his gardener's salary, he sent me $100 all the time I was in Japan. And it was a lot. And even when I came back and I was assigned to the Los Angeles Betsuin, they would come down and visit, never one word of criticism or praise. Huh? They just watched me. They come to service. Yeah, nothing. And it wasn't until I was here in the Sacramento Betsuin, with the Sacramento Betsuin, and had married Patty. I was well into my 40s by then. And my mom and dad came up one Sunday in the springtime, beautiful day. After service, we went back to the home. We lived in the Dorset home. We were still at the Betsuin home. Dad and I were sitting in the backyard on the little porch area. Patty and Mom were making lunch. And my dad was looking at me, kind of different, a little smile. And I looked at him and said, Dad, are you okay? Huh? And he said this to me. He said in Japanese, やっぱり考えたら、まあ、よくやったな。やっぱり考えたら、よくやったな. Which means, if I think about it, you did good. You did good. よくやったな. And he wasn't talking about you did good today. He was talking about your life. You did okay. You did good with your life. Probably just because I married Patty and he loved Patty. He said, Yoku yatta na. And I thought this is really an expression of deep, deep love in a traditional Japanese family. Yoku yatta. To be able to receive that deep affirmation. Affirmation. Imagine, see, if their generation, even the Nisseis, especially the Isseis, if my mom asked my dad, do you love me? You'd say, Bakatare, I married you, didn't I? Huh? Or if my dad said to my mom, I love you, she would look at him and say, are you okay? Right? But if they said to each other, 考えたら、まあ、一緒によくやったな. Hey, I think about it, we did good together, huh? That's love, huh? That's love. And when my dad said that to me, I wanted to hear it again, huh? But he only said it once, and it took me about 2 weeks. I just thought about, wow, Dad said, yoku yatta na. And it took me 2 weeks before I mentioned it to Patty. I said, you know what my dad said? He said, yoku yatta yo. In a way, to me, this is the feeling we all have here today. As we think about the people we love who we've lost, we are saying to them in our hearts, 考えたら本当によくやったな. When I think about it, you did great. ご苦労さんでした. Because of you, enduring so much, sacrificing so much, I have this wonderful life. ありがとう, ありがとう. Thank you so, so much. I can never stop saying thank you. Thank you beyond words. When our eyes open to this truth of impermanence, we are reminded again to truly try to live each day fully. And today, we gather to remember loved ones that we've lost. Their lives will always, forever be interwoven with our own in the karmic fabric of time. And in remembering them, let us remember again to try to embrace each day, sharing the Dharma with our Nembutsu gratitude. That level of gratitude where the words thank you would never, ever be enough. To all of our Hatsubon families, Patty and I wish to express our deepest condolences. Often, we had no idea that you known this loss. And as we watch the Hatsubon memorial pictures flash across the screen, as I mentioned, could not help but just tear up, realizing how many dear, wonderful friends and members we've lost just in this past 12 months. Please know we're also grateful for their efforts to sustain this temple in our community over the years. In closing, please join me in Gassho. Today, we gather and remember loved ones we have lost. Know that their lives will always be interwoven with our own in the karmic fabric of time. Let us say to them in our hearts, 考えたら本当によくやったな。ご苦労さんでした。What you accomplished is amazing. Thank you so much. Because of you, I have this wonderful life. ありがとう、ありがとう、ありがとう。Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is Onembutsu, that level of gratitude where the words thank you will never be enough. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namman.